As we expected from Blizzard's own timeline, yesterday we were about to see more hero talents from the War Within. Now, we didn't expect to get exactly that many hero talents because we got 12. I was expecting 4, perhaps 6. On a good day, I would have expected 8. Instead, we got 12. So, since we have so many, we have decided to split them into 3 parts, and we have to start, of course, from the absolutely worst ones. The 4 worst of these hero talents which did not hit the mark, either because of the lack of a theme, the lack of an idea behind it, or perhaps because of how passive and boring they were. Just a combination of disappointment from these talent trees. And we have to start from perhaps the least of the disappointing one in theory, but still not really a great one. It's the Shadowpan talent tree for Windwalker monks and Brewmaster monks. Now, this talent tree has a good thing. One good thing, which is this, which is the Wisdom of the Wall buff, which is a 20-second long buff, and you can see from the effects, it's a very powerful one. You have 30% more damage from crits, you have 25% more value from your mastery, your versatility now turns into dodge increase, and now critical strike chance is increased by 25% of that effect, and your base ability Flurry Strikes now deals even more damage and in AoE. So all of this seems very powerful. It also lasts for 20 seconds, so it's a very big, long buff. However, everything surrounding this talent is quite bad in the sense that it's quite passive and automatic. You don't really have to do anything about this, and it all hinges around this. Dealing damage equal to your max HP gives you a flurry charge. Every time you spend 400 energy, you consume flurry charges to cast flurry strikes. Once you have consumed flurry strikes 10 times, you get to gain this buff. Now, besides the already confusion around dealing damage equal to your max HP, which would of course make it harder for a Brewmaster monk because number 1, they do less damage than a DPS, and number 2, they have more HP than a DPS, so for them it would be slower. There are a few problems with this entire thing, namely, for example, being tied to specifically reaching 400 energy. These type of talents have created problems before, because what happens, for example, if you don't really want to make this happen when it would be proccing? Take, for example, the last couple of mobs at 20% HP of a trash pack, and you are at 385 energy as a monk. Now you have 2 options. Either you keep spending energy and proc this effect as the trash pack is about to die, or you don't want this to proc when the trash pack is about to die, so you basically just auto-attack and do nothing else, and wait for the pack to be over so you can pull the next pack and make this proc at the beginning of the next pull. That would be quite annoying. Usually these type of talents are fixed by turning one of your other less used abilities into the effect. For example, for each 400 energy you spend, your blackout kick turns into flurry strikes. So you get the option, you get to choose when to benefit from this buff. Instead, the fact that it is tied to proc all the times after you spend 400 energy, it might make it quite clunky with the timing of certain pulls in Mythic Plus in particular. But that's it. Besides this, most of the talent is just passive extra effects, and you have to basically play all around this talent right here, which is just not overall very good. It's decent for a tank. Remember, when you're looking at these talent trees, it's also important to check what you actually gain in terms of tankiness. Like if this is just not flat out more damage, more damaging effects, but actually something good for your tankiness. This is good for tankiness. This does give you quite a few extra tankiness stats. It's gonna be, of course, a matter of how often can you proc this? How much of an uptime can this have at the moment? Another one of the disappointing ones in the bottom 4 is Pack Leader, the cross between Beast Mastery and Survival. Dark Ranger between Marksmanship and BM was already kind of a miss, and this one manages to outdo Dark Ranger to be even worse. Basically, Kill Command makes you and your pet attack together, doing extra damage on your next Kill Command. And that's about it. You get some more damage to your pet's auto attacks. Your pet's auto attacks can give you more critical strike chance. Your pet's auto attacks have a chance to reset the cooldown of Kill Command. Kill Shot deals more damage and puts a bleed on the target. And then the final point, Pack Assault, gives you the buff Vicious Hunt and Pack Coordination, which is an extra auto attack on your pet whenever you cast Barbershot, Raptor Strike or Mongoose Bite, to be always active during your cooldowns. All of this, of course, is very, very passive, very, very streamlined in the background. You don't have to do much of anything else with your own rotation as a BM or a survival hunter. It is the definition of an autopilot talent tree. You just get more stuff from your pet's auto attacks, and that's about it. You know, with the name Pack Leader, you were expecting some cool stuff. Perhaps not as big as a demonology spawning extra demons, but you know, something better than just Bestial Wrath and Coordinated Assault summoning an extra pet for 6 seconds. That's not quite the theme of a pack leader, is it? So it does seem like quite a disappointing set of changes for both Beast Mastery and Survival. Survival has it slightly better. A few of the things in here synergize with their already existing rotation a little bit better, like Wildfire Bomb, further reducing the cooldown of Carve and Butchery, which can then give you more cooldown of Wildfire Bomb, and repeating this loop is slightly better for Survival than Beast Mastery, but overall it's quite a disappointing set of talents. The third disappointing talent tree is just one level above them, which is Druid of the Claw, between Feral and Guardian. So Feral had the already rather passive and boring Wild Stalker tree with Restoration Druid, so we were expecting something a little bit more bestial when mixed with Guardian Druid. So everything hinges around massive attack. It's an RNG chance to turn your Ferocious Bite or your Maul into an AoE Ferocious Bite. So you do main damage on the target, and then based on the extra energy, upwards of 100% more damage, and also you splash damage around the target. So it's just an extra AoE finisher. It does have some decent tanky elements for Guardian, because you get 10% more max HP when using Frenzied Regen, because massive attack gives you 5% more agility and increases the armor of your Iron Fur. So you do have some slight extra tankiness for Guardian in this talent tree. But besides this, it's just a very, very passive talent. You just have once more this, turning Ferocious Bite and Maul once in a while into a different ability and nothing else. There was the possibility of turning this into quite the interesting experiment of making Feral Druids Bear Weave into Bear form once in a while, or making Guardian Druids Cat Weave into Feral once in a while with these two talents. If they were all available at once for starters, if this wasn't a choice. Things like when you have 8 stacks of Ursine potential, the next time you transform into bear form as a cat, your next mangle or swipe deal more damage. Same goes for Guardian, turning into cat form to gain 6 combo points, and your next Ferocious Bite or Rip dealing more damage. You have this one, which allows a bear form to retain 80% of your armor and health when you switch into cat form. So there was an interesting possibility of turning this tree into some shape-shifting combo between Guardian and Feral, but it seems a bit too underdeveloped to just have a couple of talents down the side to synergize with this, and the rest is down to being about massive attack. So it does feel more than anything like a missed opportunity for these two specs to have something more thematic around being an animal, being a beast. Massive attack seems a little bit too little for the effects you gain. The third one is possibly the worst of the bunch. It's Farseer. It's the cross between Resto and Elemental. So the entire cross hinges around this, which is the Divine Image Naru of a Holy Priest. Holy Priest, when you cast a Holy Word, you generate a Naru which replicates the spells you cast. This does the same when you cast Primordial Wave or Unleash Life. Now, this is of course already much weaker, because a Holy Priest can cast up to 4, 5, even 6 Holy Words in quick succession. Primordial Wave and Unleash Life cannot be cast that often. You are tied to even more RNG with this talent tree. Yes, you get one more charge of Riptide and Lava Burst, but now Lava Burst and Riptide are also giving you a small chance to summon an extra Ancestor You do have some bland extra effects like increasing your maelstrom, increasing your max mana, increasing the flat damage or healing of your abilities. Whenever your ancestor expires, you cast an elemental blast or hydro bubble, which is an HP decaying absorb shield on a target. You can either make your ancestors 20% stronger or have a 50% chance to summon a new one when they expire. And then the final capstone is quite a terrible one. You essentially change your nature swiftness to also summon an extra ancestor when you use it on a 1 minute cooldown. So this entire thing, of course, as it goes by itself, is quite passive and it creates some problems. For Elemental Shaman, it pushes you even deeper down your Lava Burst builds, because this entire thing, of course, works off of Lava Burst, so you are locked into playing Lava Burst. You have questions for Resto instead, like for example this one working off of Unleash Life, which is a talent not used in Mythic Plus. So playing in Mythic Plus would basically force you into playing with Unleash Life if you wanted to play the Farseer hero talent tree. And then there is the effects that, of course, summoning these ancestors seem quite weak, especially considering they last only 6 seconds. It does seem quite short. Of course, we have to wait. We don't know the numbers. Maybe the replicated damage or healing is quite high, so maybe it can afford you some pretty big combos. You know, you're an Elemental Shaman, you are stacked with Maelstrom. You can now cast Primordial Wave to summon the Ancestor, and then Nature Swiftness to summon the second Ancestor, and then spam Earthquake. And both of the Ancestors will be spamming Earthquake themselves and do tons of damage. Maybe that's gonna work. However, as it is, it feels like quite a disappointing set of talents. They don't actually change anything about your rotation. They still lock an Elemental Shaman to play around Lava Burst. They don't really add anything to a Resto Shaman. And then the other problem about Shamans is tankiness, or rather squishiness. So what's in here to actually make you tankier, to actually make you survive big hits, to help you with your defensives? There is nothing. There is this, which is laughable. Reducing the cooldown of your Nature's Guardian auto heal by 10 seconds and making you heal for 5% more is not very good. And then Earthen Communion is even more laughable in terms of a defensive for yourself. So you don't actually gain anything. Even the talent trees we just talked about for being disappointing had some 5% flat damage reduction, maybe 10% flat damage reduction. This one has nothing. Nothing really significant in terms of your survival as a shaman, which is a problem. So it's just a disappointment all in all when talking about this talent tree for shamans. So at the end of the day, these were the 4 most disappointing of the hero talent trees. Pack Leader for BM and Survival, Farseer for Elemental and Resto Shaman, Druid of the Claw for Feral and Guardian, and Shadowpan for Brewmaster and Windwalker Monk. We will see tomorrow the middle pack ones, the 4 that are kind of good, have some good elements, some positive elements, and see how much they have improved over these 4 ones which seem quite disappointing. So for today, on this Saturday, we are stopping on the bad news of the release of these hero talent trees. We are, of course, leaving each other by thanking all of the Patreon supporters for the contribution and help to the growth of the channel, which can, as usual, also be given completely for free. You can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. Now, with these disappointing things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, I have to go out very quickly because I am in a rush and I'm already late.